Greetings, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ellen Red. I'm a psychic medium and a remote viewer. I have my little friend Celestine here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some spirits that have been coming to me recently in relation to being buried without being able to tell their story. Many souls, when they pass over and they don't get to have their story told, or they don't get honored in spirit, they won't leave into the higher dimensions. They can't until their story is told. So oftentimes they'll stay on the earth plane, what you might call haunting people, until they get to be heard and seen, so that they can have peace before they move back to the spirit world. These beings oftentimes are just good people who need to be able to be heard and seen. It's really very common in the spiritual world for them to need to have their story told before they can move forward. So they oftentimes will contact people and be looking for a way to tell their story so that they can move forward. I've been being contacted by spirits my whole life, even as a small child. And I've also dealt with an extraordinary amount of mental illness, exposure to people with mental illnesses my whole life. A lot of my work as a shaman and a spiritual healer is to help people heal mental illness. Mental illness can be healed. It's often caused mostly by a disconnect from the spirit. We live in a Luciferian satanic culture where our systems have been taken over by Luciferian beings and satanic beings who have created a false, inverted phantom matrix that is not in alignment with the spirit. And that's really oftentimes what mentally ill people are tuning into, even if they don't know how to make sense of it. So they go mad. In the history of humanity, humans have been burning witches at the stake, and even unaliving and burying and crucifying and electrocuting people that they deem mentally ill, torturing them. For the record, this is an energy reading for entertainment purposes only. I'm just sharing information that I picked up through energy readings, and it may or may not be considered true according to whoever's listening. We live in very strange times where truth can be very dangerous to tell. So you have to be able to understand what I'm saying at the best of your ability on your own level, okay? But I will say that I've been being contacted by a lot of spirits who have been buried without getting to tell their story. Many in the 1800s were buried in graves that were marked in numbers. Many throughout history have been tortured again in mental illness hospitals. Many of them were tossed aside with really not even honoring them in their own burials. And their souls are not at peace. And so they have come to me and showed me their story in hopes that I could help to tell it. And I'm going to do a lot of work on trying to tell these stories. I would like, if anybody's watching, to please send me information on anybody that you may know who have gone through something like this, so that we can tell their story and I can make a connection to them and help to set them free. A lot of times, even when they do go mad, they don't know how to ascend back to source either, so they can get trapped in a soul trap. And that's partially the design of the Luciferians and the satanic culture, is to trap the soul so that it can be used for loosh. I have very personal stories about mental illness and people in my life that have suffered with this and even crossed over before they were able to be healed. And it's one of the most devastating things, because every single aspect of madness is something that can be healed with shamanic healing. And so it's not surprising that our culture and our systems are set up to not support spiritual healing, to not, the insurance companies don't cover your visits to shamans. And yet at the same time, visiting a shaman or a spiritual healer, if they're a good healer, can absolutely bring healing to you in one or two or a handful of sessions, as opposed to decades or lifetimes of mental illness and great suffering. It was never the design of your soul to live in mental illness. Mental illness is a manifestation of the soul that is recognizing a world that is unrecognizable because it is not in alignment with Source. Humanity has fallen very, very, very far away from Source. It is the densest reality in the cosmos, aside from one other dimension that is lower than this, that just doesn't allow you to have a body. And so there are layers and dimensions, but humanity in this human world has fallen out of Kathara, and it's reached a state where we are no longer living in alignment with Source at all whatsoever. And so it's causing a sickness to infiltrate many human beings and even some of the animal kingdom. But just to clarify, the souls that have been contacting me, I'm getting a massive collective that's coming in looking for healing and transmutation, looking to be set free and wanting to tell their story. I will just say that at this time there are thousands and thousands of souls who have that I have been connecting to that are what I call earthbound. They're stuck in earth, and they're stuck in this realm without a body, and they don't know how to get home, but they also can't until they get to tell their story. So again, if you have people in your lineage, you have some maybe ancestors that you know of, or you can do some research of, and you know who they are and what their stories are, it could be very helpful to help to set them free. If not, I'm going to continue to do energy work for them, and I'm going to continue to work with them in the astral field in order to continue telling their story as a collective and helping send them back to Source as we can. There's a long history of beautiful sacred light beings, star seeds and light workers and angelic beings who have come into this plane, and oftentimes when they come here, even when they're angelics, they sometimes don't remember. Most of the time they don't remember that they're part of a higher world, and they come to this reality to help, and then they get trapped here because they get caught in these astral grids that have been woven into the phantom matrix within the earth plane. And this traps their souls here, and then it causes great suffering for them. So this is what I'm seeing with a whole tremendous amount, a big collective of beings, even from hundreds and hundreds of years ago, that still are earthbound here and still are not able to be seen and heard, so they don't get to tell their story. So I'm going to continue to tell it. Madness, again, is a manifestation of humanity living against the will of the divine. It can be considered a curse from Source in a way for not living in alignment with God, but it's also oftentimes can inflict people who are truly good souls who just get confused and get caught in these soul traps. And the architects of chaos are very well aware of what they've done to create this so that it can be a net to net and capture those souls. And this is why it's very important to make your spirituality a priority in your life. Many of the beings that have been coming to me are very much, many have been tortured, and I can see wounds that they had. I can see that they were beaten. I can see that they've been electrocuted. I can see some of them were SA'd by hospital workers throughout history. I can see that there were babies that were born that weren't wanted, that were mutilated, and some very horrible things that have happened that nobody got to tell their story because they were confined in basically a form of prison in order to keep them oppressed and repressed so that they would not tap into their spirit and step into their true purpose on earth, and so that they wouldn't resist the beast machine, which is literally run by the Satanists. I'm going to be working this week to continue to release these spirits, and I would ask that anybody who wants to assist on an energetic level to please just put a little heart in the comments below so that your intentions are connected to the work that I'm doing in the soul release. I will see you guys next time.